Apprenticeship with Department of Labor, also has told us that he's not available today, but he sends his good wishes. And we've got everybody represented but OMH, PWD, but maybe somebody will join us shortly. All righty. Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, friends, and colleagues. This is Pat Dowse, and I'm excited to close up the end of 2023 with a quarterly meeting here of our state advisory. We have lots of good stuff to tell you about what's been happening with advanced apprenticeship, but we're also, because you're all folks that come from a state level agency, hoping that you can also share with us anything that we should be keeping on top of and making sure that as we move into 2024, and that's some of the good news, and I'm not going to steal thunder there from Marilee and Brandy, but we will do that. So to start off, because there's some new faces always and things that are happening, and just reminding us, because we don't even see each other but every 3 months unless we cross paths for other reasons. If we could kindly just introduce ourselves, and then I'm going to use a little technique that I learned from a board that I sit on, the Mental Health Empowerment Project, and Amy does this thing called brag and steal. So here's your first tip. If you want to do something with your staff you've never done before, have them brag and steal. Brag a little bit about something that is new and different and coming on, or that you did that you're really proud of, to let the rest of the crew know what we're up to. And if it's a great idea, like this one was for me, steal it and use it the next time it makes sense when you're working with people. So I'm going to turn this now to my colleagues at University of Rochester, Marilee and Brandy, if you just say hi, and if there's something you want to brag about about our project to our state colleagues, or just in general. It's the holiday season. If something fun happened, please feel free to do that. Marilee.
Hi, all. Marilee Boylan, Director of Employment Programs for Strong Center for Developmental Disabilities. And I guess the big news for us is that we were recently extended 2 more years for this project from the Council of Developmental Disabilities. So that's pretty good news.
That is pretty good news. Thank you. Well, let's see how Brandy tops that. Go ahead, Miss Brandy.
Good morning. I'm Brandy Solomon, Project Coordinator for Advanced Apprenticeship with the Strong Center for Developmental Disabilities. And yes, we are in planning mode for that 2-year extension.
There you go. Perfect. So that makes this a very, very important meeting for all of you to listen, but also to share with us ideas and things that we should be considering. Martha?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Martha Ponji. I'm the Director of National Apprenticeships for the National Institutes of Innovation and Technology, and I am a proud member of this consulting group because we're doing great work, and I can't wait for you to hear all the good stuff that's going on with Brandy and Marilee.
Okay. I don't think is there anybody else from our team there?
Hi, Pat. This is Carrie. I'm on.
There she is. Okay, I was going down the line. Go ahead, Carrie, please.
I am Carrie Baker. I work for SCDD as well, and I think you've covered the brags. It's okay. Early on Monday, so I have no additional brags to add.
Okay, good enough. See, my day started at 7 because I took advantage of the Friday after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, there it is, that's the word, Black Friday, and bought new appliances for my kitchen. So they were here taking things out and delivering at 7 o'clock this morning. So I'm wired. I've had 2 cups of tea, I think. On the next on my list then is Miss Stacy. Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry about that. I'm having a little tech issue. Good morning, everybody. I'm Stacy Kantrowitz, and I'm the Director of Community Employment Services at Joanio. Nice to see everybody this morning. Brags, let's see. Well, most recently, not really related to this, but we were happily awarded the Career-Specific Vocational Training Project Initiative through OPWDD, Governor Huckle's initiative to get more people back to work. So we are providing training in the realm of retail. So we're very excited to partner with school districts, with OPWDD, and other folks to get more people back to work in the industry.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Joining us for the first time are and covering for Alan and Chris are friends and colleagues, Carrie, Wiley, and Amanda. And I'm not even going to try to get your last name for the
Eat
first
away,
time.
guys.
So Amanda, you introduce yourself first, and then you can hand it off to Carrie. How's that?
Great. Hi, Pat. Good morning, and good morning to everyone else. Like Pat said, we're here stepping in for Alan and Mr. Pinheiro. I'm glad to be here. I'm the project coordinator for the New York Scion project within the Office of Career Development and Inclusion with the Department of Labor. So happy to be here. Been here. I started in this particular area or department about 6 months ago in June. So I've learned quite a bit in that span of time, thanks to my colleague Carrie Wiley and her, introducing me to this whole network of people that provide these services. So glad to be here.
Amanda, how do
Welcome.
you
Yep. You had to hit the ground running, whether you liked it or not.
Oh, yes.
So, and she's done a phenomenal job, and we'll brag a little bit more about DRCs in a minute. Go ahead, Carrie.
Good morning. My name is Carrie Wiley. I work with Amanda and Alan in the Office of Career Development and Inclusion at the Department of Labor. I am the project lead for the New York State Inclusive Opportunity and Systems Change Project. We have now 27 disability resource coordinators across the state as part of that project. A couple have been very active with this initiative. And I'm glad to report that as of December data shows that over 9,700 people have been served by Scion, so we're very excited about that. Thanks, Pat.
We are too, because indeed, Lindsay and Nicole are very, very important components to what's making things work in Rochester and Utica, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. Mr. Sink, you're up next, please.
Good morning, everybody. Makes me nervous when you call me Mr. Sink, Pat.
Oh, sorry, Andy.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Let's see. So I'm the director of the New York Employment Services System at the Office of Mental Health. There's lots of good stuff going on. I guess related, we were just talking to our Commissioner Sullivan about how best to structure apprenticeships for the state workforce, including those with disabilities. And so that's some fun conversations we're having here at a leadership level, and they're listening and they're saying yes, which I think is fantastic news.
Well, we'd be happy to help. If you need an advisor on advisory committee, you just ask any one of us on this team and we'll be jazzed to join you. Not a problem.
You're all on my list, Pat.
Oh, good. Monica Troy Smith from our friends at Access VR. Actually, we had an amazing conversation with Ceylon and Switzy the other day. So say hi, Monica, if you would, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm having technical difficulties as well, so I hope you can hear me.
Yep, we can.
I'm
You're good.
the manager of the Service Delivery and Quality Assurance Unit at Access VR. And this year, we, I think, successfully implemented our new electronic case management system, Aware. And 2023 will end with having worked on 8 essential contracts that we use to ensure that we have services, essential services for our customers across the state. I'm especially interested in apprenticeships, and I'm excited to see how much you've already done with this. This is great.
Oh,
Happy
cool.
to be here.
Well, we got lots to tell you. Don't you worry. And if you hear something and we don't get to the answer, then you know how to get a hold of any one of the 3 of us, and we'll be happy. And Martha, especially on a national level too, might be able to give you perspective on what other states are doing and connecting with VR, because that's her specialty too.
Great.
Miss Jean Risigliano.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Jean Risigliano. I'm the director of the Center for Community Transition and Full Life Academy at Autism Up. We are just beginning. We are going to be beginning in January our winter term, and we have grown our young adult participation by about 57% here at Autism Up. So I'm very excited about that. I started Full Life Academy with 10 people, and we are up to 90, probably 90 plus. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. And last but not least, because he represents our manufacturers for our advisory committee, and that's Frank Falcon.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Frank Falatan. I run a 40-man advanced manufacturing company down here in the Hudson Valley. I believe and I've been working with individuals with disabilities for about 6 years now. And we actually put together a little pre-apprenticeship program to help get people prepared to go into apprenticeships. And we are having great success here. In fact, I'd say at least half of the people that we hire come from this category, and we have some of them into apprenticeships right now also. So it's a underserved population that can be successful given the right supports and training. And I'm looking to continue doing this for a much longer time.
Some of you have seen maybe this. We are going to show it again quickly today because it only takes 2 minutes. And if you'd like it yourselves for your own marketing opportunities, we have this amazing video, and Frank and his teammates are featured there. So I was teasing him when he first got on and said, I feel like I'm always hanging out with you because we're showing the video so much. So thank you all very much for your introductions and a little bit of bragging. And if there's any good ideas or things there that you heard, please steal them and let us know if we can help you with that. I'm going to turn this over now to Mayor Lee to kick us off because she and Brandy love PowerPoint. So to make it simpler, we're going to just run through some slides so that it's there. Plus, we'll be able to send this to you again so you have information at your fingertips.
Good morning, everybody. We're glad to share all our updates with you. A lot's been happening. And we just welcome you to this holiday season. So hope you guys are enjoying the pre-season and enjoy your time with your family and friends. Just if folks are new to Advanced to Apprenticeship, the goal of Advanced to Apprenticeship is to improve access to apprenticeship work opportunities for people who identify as having an intellectual or developmental disability. And it's a pilot that focuses, it's a pilot program where we're building skills, entry-level skills for folks who have developmental disabilities. Our program is focused in pre-apprenticeship. And pre-apprenticeship is really meant to be exploratory so people can really understand, is manufacturing a really good fit for me? Try it out, kind of try it on for size. But it's also meant to build kind of entry-level skills in high demand industry as well. Pat?
Oh, I'm not used to the state ones got shorter. Okay, cool. Sorry, caught me right off guard. So we did a little bit in the beginning with the brag and steal. Here's another brag from us. The Manufacturing Association of New York, where I consult through, is excited to be applying to become this is a second program. They're going to become a sponsor of a direct entry. In October, Commissioner Reardon announced that New York would not only have direct entry programs for people, women, veterans, and or minorities, but would also add the category people with disabilities. So our A2A will be the first direct entry program sponsored by MACNY in manufacturing. What it does do is it allows any one of those categories that I just listed off, women, minorities, and veterans, to also have a secondary box, because although direct entry is meant to be 100% of one category of eligibility of participant, 100% of people with disabilities is segregating. So we're not encouraging that, and the state agrees. So we'll see it shifted over, and because as you heard, even though focused on supporting people with intellectual and developmental disabilities is the goal of Advanced to Apprenticeship, anyone that's interested in manufacturing can participate in our direct entry program, and hence the value of it being also set aside for veterans, women, and minorities. So any person that is experiencing challenges to career discovery and career advancement is welcome to join in these programs. Direct entry in New York, just for those that aren't aware, is equal to what Marilee was talking about before, pre-apprenticeship. It allows for hands-on exploration. It offers people work readiness skills, support services, and looking at the overall technical skills that might be necessary. But at the same time, it also makes sure that the individual is ready to go to work by giving them life skills, time management, a review of what it means to work as part of a team, but also to be independent thinkers. And then based on the success of a program, and we're going to talk a little bit more about where we are with both the programs in Utica at Mohawk Valley Community College and with Rochester Center for Workforce Development. We also are tied to the Disability Resource Coordinator in each of those areas to help us with job search, job interview preparation, resume development. So all of those things are a part of this exploration on a direct entry program. New York uses that model versus just a true pre-apprenticeship program. Next slide.
So we are very excited that our first cohort at Mohawk Valley Community College in Utica was able to wrap up last week on December 7th. So they were able to meet all fall long. We had 7 active students who were able to achieve their OSHA 10 certification as a part of the course. They had phenomenal power skills instructor and tutor who was there to help them along the way with understanding different soft skills, those power skills, those communications and effective interviewing and resume development. They all left the program with the resume that prepared them for interview day. There was also CNC technical exploration. We actually have a little picture here of the hammer, the brass hammer that all the guys were able to make as a part of that exploration. And they were able to do a tour at Riverhawk, which is one of the smaller manufacturers in the Utica area that has international reach. And they were well received there and really got to see the inner workings of behind the scene of that company.
So our interview day occurred on December 4th, and the students were able to go and interview with Wolfspeed, Indium, and Dan Foss. We're still awaiting the results. We do know that some of the students had received callbacks, and they were just starting that process of communicating back and forth. So we don't have the results yet of the interviews, but we are anxiously awaiting them. And then we also had the students are taking a part of an opportunity at Mohawk Valley Community College called Fast Track. It's a quick educational program in different areas, and we had 3 students who will be continuing on in robotics and 1 in computer networking. So we're pretty excited that students are now comfortable in the education environment and are continuing their exploration and education. Pat? Oop, you're muted.
You're muted.
Hey, Pat, you're muted, love.
Touching too many buttons.
There you go.
I need to go join the class. Advanced Apprenticeships is a basic manufacturing course. The next cohort is looking like early spring, April. We purposely are not letting too much time span between when this one finished and the next one, but at the same time giving the college, which we're very excited about the first time, because it's a non-credit bearing process, getting our information into brochures and things that are typically sent out to the general ed student didn't really happen at the beginning. So that's one of the challenges we faced. And indeed, we are now overcoming that by taking this next period of time in order for Advanced Apprenticeship to be added to the website, to the course catalogs that are sent out, and to other media information that's being set up. So we'll be working, we had our meeting last week with the Mohawk Valley Advisory Board, allowing them to know that it's coming, because also what we learned was that people are busy already filling their schedules. And some folks were invited to consider the opportunity. And we learned from either their families or from the residential settings that they engage in, that they were already booked with other kinds of activities and couldn't necessarily consider this because things were already pre-planned. So we're hoping we can get on the front end of that agenda and encourage people to look at job exploration and career exploration with us at Mohawk Valley.
And so continuing with that career exploration, we're also working with the Center for Workforce Development here in Rochester, and we are gearing up for our first cohort here at CWD with the classes of machining, industrial operator, as well as welding. The classes start in February. That's the beginning of their spring semester. So we are still recruiting and still enrolling alongside anyone else in the public who may be joining these classes because we are pushing in. We do have 3 student applications for welding. Welding has been a very popular class for many of our interested applicants. And their TAE, that adult basic education assessment, is pending to determine their admission status.
So as Brandy was mentioning, we have 3 courses through Center for Workforce Development. And the machining fundamentals is probably the most detailed, rigorous course. So they will be doing blueprint reading, machine shop math, drilling, taping. They'll be doing their OSHA 10 as well, and doing some basic CNC machining. Welding, they'll learn the different types of welding, both stick, arc welding, TIG. And then industrial operator is a really much more of a fundamentals course in industrial processes. So we are excited about having folks have the opportunity in each of these 3 areas. All the courses are offered during the evening, so people can either work during the day or go to school and then do the evening courses at night.
Each of the courses have associated costs with them.
Could I just stop? Could we go back
Yeah,
to the
please.
previous slide, please?
Sure.
It always surprises me, and it's not a bad surprise, that welding is a really difficult, grinding career. And we have welding here, but we also have some boat yards on the Hudson River that I know the folks pretty well there, and it's a tough skill to do because you're under and you're welding, and it's a difficult. No, it's not difficult. No more so than any of the other 2 that are listed here. But it always surprises me because I've had probably this past year 4 different young women come to me wanting to do welding. And I have a very close friend of mine who's a welding inspector, and he's a brilliant man that's semi-retired that's helped a lot of young people get into welding. And I have him talk with these young ladies, and he pretty much talks them out of it because it's really brutal work. I mean, you're out in boat yards, you're welding up steel structures, you're out there, on your back, welding these things overhead. And I'm always surprised that people pick welding. I'm not against it. I'm for it because we don't have enough welders, especially very good welders. But from a disability standpoint, where they sometimes they need safe spaces. I wouldn't say safe spaces. That's not the right word. Accommodations that allow them to work in, let's say, quiet environments. Typically, welding is not one of those positions. So we have a young man right now who's gone through our pre-apprenticeship program, and he is absolutely on the spectrum. And I work with him, and we have him into a community college classes here to learn machining fundamentals, just like you're offering. He actually got a welding certificate when he was living down in New Jersey. I work very closely with him and his mom, and he likes welding, but he's just over the moon in terms of CNC machining. When he found out what he could do and he sees the environment that they're working in, that seems to be, at least in our experience, that an industrial operator would seem to be a better fit I'm not discouraging people from going into welding, but they have to be exposed to what it really means. And
Mhm.
there's got to be, in fact, I'm positive that there's shops out in your area that do structural welding. There is also some welding done in a manufacturing company. That's what we do here, but it's a different type of welding. And my guess is they're probably going to start them on stick welding first, maybe go to MIG welding. But if you're going to be a welder in a manufacturing company, you see what you have to do what's called TIG welding. And
Mhm.
they typically don't teach TIG welding for entry level people. And so the stick welding and the MIG welding, yeah, that's for construction work and that's for building beams and building, framework and things of that sort. But I'm glad to see that you're three people, but my advice would be is to give them an early experience of what it's like to work in welding by maybe going to some of these welding companies and really see if that's the right fit for them. If it is, then power to them because they can surely do the work if they're trained highly enough. But it's a tough environment to work in. It really is. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I think the experiential piece is something that we are definitely more focused on after the first cohort finishing at Mohawk Valley and looking at even what they were saying. We thought we were going to get to do this or that. And so we're restructuring some things with Franca and what's going on there, but it's also then informed us for what has to happen here. And Brandy's going to tell you about some things that we've pushed in already to kind of, I think, meet the expectations that you were just saying, Frank. So go ahead, Brandy.
So the cool part at the Center for Workforce Development is they do the three different types of welding: the stick, the TIG, and the MIG. The other piece around here locally that I know in Rochester is not only is there the push within manufacturing for welders, but we're not too far from a lot of different farmland and people wanting the skill for that. When it comes to the experimental piece of it, we were able to introduce preview classes to Center for Workforce Development, which you're right, there's a lot of people who are interested in welding. And from my personal conversations with them, it's a more of an interest based off what they've seen on TV versus what they have experienced in real life. So these preview classes have been great for them to sit in the actual welding classes for about an hour and see all the sparks and flames and sensory overload of what's going on. But like you're saying, that drill down of them actually getting into companies is the next step of what we want to happen for all of our students to be able to truly see what life is like after the training while they're in it so that they know what to expect or to pivot if needed. Like you said, with the young man you experienced who did the welding certification and then went into CNC. I definitely think some of the students will benefit from having more than one opportunity. And when it comes to that, the funding that is available for each of the opportunities could be subsidized through Access VR or Rochester Work training grants based on a person's eligibility. So the idea of them going into one trade is awesome for us, but people truly have the opportunity to explore more than one if that is in their interest. So the enrollment process with Center for Workforce Development definitely looks like starting with interest, someone being able to say that, I think this is what I want to do, us having a deeper conversation with them, exploring the different options that are available, exploring their why. Like all of the students who told me they want to do welding because they seen it on TV, I was like, wait a minute. We need to get you into this preview class so you can actually see it in person because TV versus real life, two different things. And then once they are, really connected with us, we're able to also connect them with Center for Workforce Development's process, which looks like them signing up to take that basic adult education assessment as an indicator of what support needs they may have during the class or before the class. We also have them getting connected to our workforce board here locally is Rochester Works, making sure that not only are they tied to them for career opportunities, but also training grant opportunities if they're eligible. We're ensuring that the students are following through, that they are meeting with their access counselors if that's applicable, and their career advisors with Rochester Works, and ultimately attending the class so that they can get that trade to move them along in the advanced to apprenticeship process.
We've been doing presentations everywhere, trying to recruit for this course in the spring. We had the opportunity to do a presentation at the New York Alliance Living and Working Conference. We've been able to present in front of Access VRCs, DePaul, Job Path, lots of different opportunities. We recently presented in front of a couple of BOCES leadership meetings as well. We have a couple of upcoming events. We have a preview class coming up. I believe it's is it December 14th?
Yes.
So that students can come and see for themselves what the machining and the welding course is like. We will be hosting a business networking meeting at Delmonico's here in Rochester, and to really give an overview about what Advanced to Apprenticeship is and how businesses will be able to partnership with us. We're also doing an Embracing Greater Diversity presentation in partnership with RTMA and Access VR to give the businesses more information about how to support folks that either they already have hired or they may hire in the future who have disabilities, and the resources that are available to them. And we also have this spring and then a Center for Workforce Development. Those instructors are going to come and do a neurodiversity training, and that's scheduled for February 6th in the new year. So all
Marilee, could I ask you to brag a little bit? And then I'll respond to Carrie's question about our RTMA is the alliance partner in Rochester that works specifically to with manufacturing companies to sponsor apprenticeships. In the Syracuse Mohawk Valley, that is MACNY. They're a state entity, but then there's alliance of other entities, like Frank is in the council down in the Hudson Valley. Carrie, I can give you the whole breakdown for you and Amanda after this meeting. But I want to, because we've had such great feedback and participation in the neurodiversity training and actually universal design. Marilee, would you brag a little bit for us on and letting our state partners know what we've been working on, because perhaps there's things that they're doing that might have this training be of value to them as well?
So we made available a neurodiversity training. It was a 90-minute training for Mohawk Valley Community Community College and their instructors, but not just the manufacturing instructors. We actually opened it up to all their faculty and staff. And there was a high level of interest. There's a lot of hunger in that area. As soon as we opened it up, the course was filled. So it's really good feedback, I think, for us that people realize that they're already supporting folks with disabilities, and they might not always have the skills to do so. A lot of the course instructors are coming from industry. Their background isn't as teaching, and so they don't really have some of the maybe basic fundamentals, or they're bringing all their work experience, and they just haven't had any formal education experience. So we're trying to kind of give them some new resources and tools so that they can support different types of learners.
And when you use the phrase neurodiversity, we're not just talking about people who have diagnosis of autism. We're talking about anyone with any kind of learning challenges, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So we've been on the road. You heard Marilee list off who we've been presenting to, but we've also been asked to make presentations on behalf of the project to, just the way you guys have experienced, are expressing an interest in learning more, so of other people. So that's a brag for us today too. During National Apprenticeship Month, Martha was kind enough to get us a spotlight on one of her panels to be able to talk on a national level. I don't know, Martha, if there's anything that you can tell the group from that we should brag a little bit about. The rest of the list there is pretty self-evident. We just recently presented to the State Rehab Council. We have upcoming presentations to BOCES Special Ed. And looking into the next 2 years, we're also trying to figure out how to engage younger students, not just the junior and seniors in high school, but middle school and then up, to make sure that manufacturing is one of those job pathways that's on our list, not just the traditional sets. But Martha, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about what's happening on a national level for our state partners, I think they'd be intrigued too.
I think the one thing that I see that's happening that should make all of us much more confident in the work that we're doing and be more engaged moving forward is that on a national level, we are seeing a much bigger focus from the U.S. Department of Labor and other federal agencies on the necessity to build these pathways into jobs like advanced manufacturing, because not only are the individuals that we're targeting capable of doing this work, but it will provide pathways to careers that are really self-sustaining and pay a living wage. So they not only give these individuals with disabilities a place to start, but they give them a pathway to continue growing throughout their career, which is really something that those traditional occupations don't allow for. And so we want to continue to move this forward as much as we can. I think that the work that Brandy and Marilee are doing by getting in front of families, getting in front of schools whenever possible, is really the key to spreading that message and having more individuals like Frank and his company who are coming to the table to hear about the supports that are available and the work that can be done when you join into a cohort of people who are working towards this common goal.
I think though one of the other challenges though maybe for us that we've learned, especially with the Mohawk Valley interviews, is that our focus recently, and Marilee is a leader in our state now on customized employment, along with others down in the city at Job Path and whatnot. But the businesses that are in manufacturing look at 10 and 12-hour shifts. And
True.
And those are not what we typically have people who identify with any kind of disability thinking that they're going to be working 12 hours a day. So looking at how to explain that's the neurodiversity and the universal learning design is the first step, and then looking at how to bridge that kind of gap of creating a work schedule that makes sense for the business and meeting their bottom line for what they have to do, but at the same time accommodating what is absolutely necessary for that workforce that includes people with disabilities. I don't know, Marilee, if you want to make any other comment about customized employment and how you see that fitting in.
I think as we've gone through, getting through this first cadre of students, I think we're seeing more need to talk about looking at jobs flexibly, rather than having a certain packaged position, but, how do we look at those business efficiencies and see if we have students that really match tackling those things that they're really needing work on. So I think we may build some of those initial ideas about how do you customize or how do you build in accommodations to positions so that more people can access them.
If I could also just jump in here. It's our standard here. We work 8-hour shifts, and that has been an ongoing barrier to a number of young people that we've been working with that have disabilities, because they don't have the expectation that a work week or work day is 8 hours. And the reason why, we really surprise parents and also agencies that we work with, because most people want to hire individuals with disabilities. And, I'm not knocking retail, but they don't have them work 40-hour weeks, because then they have to pay them benefits, they have to pay them health insurance, etc. And it's a heck of a lot cheaper if you don't have to pay those things, if that's your business, work. But we find that we got to have people work at least 8-hour days, which is what we have here, because that's the only efficient way to train someone. If they come in just for a few hours a day, and maybe not every day, they miss what's going on in manufacturing or what we're trying to train, and they don't have enough time to actually do it and then continue doing it in a continuous way. Because like sometimes a lot of the work that we do carries on more than one day. So we start something and we're building something, or we're packaging something, whatever it might be, but we don't finish it in that one day, and then you're not here to see the continuation of that. So and I was surprised about this because my staff says, "Look, we can't put anybody in an apprenticeship program unless they can work an 8 hour day, because that's the only way we can train them, with all the work that, and have the continuity of it. 10 and 12 hour days is asking a lot. I used to work in another life as a chemical engineer out in Indiana, and yeah, they had 10 and 12 hour shifts because they have to have a plant that runs 24 hours a day, and you have to have people there. But that's really challenging. So I'm really, if you can solve that problem and have people work that amount of time of disability, boy, you've really overdone my expectations, because I'm hoping to get the disability community at an earlier age start putting expectations into young people that have disabilities, that yeah, you're going to have to someday be able to work 8 hour days. If you could do 10 and 12, my hat's off to you, because I think that's even better. So thank you for letting me put my 2 cents in again. Okay.
Yep, no, that's the point. Go ahead.
I was just gonna mention too, that we also have strongly encouraged benefit planning knowledge for each of the students, because we don't want to assume that everybody's going to work part-time. So we want to make sure that everybody has access to benefit planners so that they can make good decisions for themselves.
So we are looking once again for that call to action to continue with our marketing support. We've learned that word of mouth really has been working well with just continuing the conversation. You're talking with someone that you haven't seen in a while, and you ask them over the holidays how their kids doing, and they're just sitting home. Oh, are they interested in trades? Advanced to apprenticeship is something I've heard about. Call Brandy. So we just want to remind people that we are still continuing with that in recruitment, because not only are we enrolling for courses starting at Center for Workforce Development here in Rochester in February, but also we are collecting interest applications now for the second cohort for Mohawk Valley Community College that's geared to start in the spring. So any community fairs that you're familiar with that may be coming up between now and then, please let us know. We definitely are able to present online or in person based on the need of the audience, because like was said before, not only are we here to promote Advanced to Apprenticeship, but we're also promoting apprenticeships as a concept overall, so that people can really understand that this is an opportunity for everyone with or without disabilities to upskill their trades and their technical education.
If I could just jump in one more time here. So,
Yep, please.
so one of the things that, because I'm trying to connect, just like you are on our region out in Hudson Valley, with all the different disability agencies as well as the school system, et cetera. And what I find has to work, what really works is you have to just put one student from an agency or program or a school or whatever into it, because it's not just explaining that these jobs exist, but we have to also teach them what category of student that they serve today is capable of doing this work. And it's not easy for them to identify and pick out individuals that will become successful in your program. So you have to kind of go in there with the expectation is, let's just try to find one candidate. If this person may make it, they may not make it, but let's just get started working together. Let's put them in there, and then we'll see together, and they'll learn what type of characteristics a person needs for these different types of jobs. So what I'm trying to say is it should be set expectations that you're going to be developing their skills also to identify people that are capable of doing this type of work or should be put into these programs, and let your agency people, like your upper level advise, grantors or whatever you want to call them, understand that there's going to be failures here. You're not going to put everybody in, but we got to do this and get through this. And we're seeing the same thing here. We have a much higher success rate today than we did 5 years ago when we started. So you'll have the same thing. It has to be trial and error. That's how you're going to be able to build your program out successfully. That's our experience down here.
Thank you, Frank. Frank, your Falcon is the Fowler Technologies it covers what county? Are you just in Ulster? Or do you have, do people from around Ulster County, other counties, are you employing them? So when you look for a workforce, how far north and south, east and west do you kind of do that kind of stuff?
So we are in the mid-Hudson Valley, and we're in Ulster County. And there's Dutchess counties across the river from us, and then south of us is a county called Orange County, and north of us is the Albany counties, which is Columbia, Greene. We haven't gotten any success out of them just yet. But what I found is, even though I'm Ulster County and we're sending people to Ulster County Community College as part of our second step, which is after we prep them to go to community college, we put them in a community college class. What surprises me is about half of my students come from outside of Ulster County. I've had one woman who so wanted her son in this program that she drove him up from Westchester County, which was an hour and a half drive to get up here every day. And because she wanted him in this program. So it goes beyond our county.
I'm thinking, I'd like to, notwithstanding this, we'll talk offline, but Stacy and Joanio support the DRC in Rockland County. We have some other DRC connections that maybe as a give back for all the time that you've given this project, we need to figure out how to connect the council with some of the DRCs that are down in the Hudson Valley area to kind of look at those things. So we'll do that off meeting here, but I think there's some value to making sure they know what's going on. And Carrie's just saying there are DRCs actually in Ulster, Orange, and Dutchess. So maybe we can create an opportunity for your council to actually meet with any and all of them together.
Sure.
So,
I would welcome that. So one of the things that we've had to work through is if you're in Orange County and you want to go to the manufacturing machining class in Dutchess in Ulster County's community college, there has to be a sign off. The county has to be involved. So there's some paperwork, but we are actually having Dutchess County residents going to school at SUNY Ulster, and now Dutchess County just put in this incredible mechatronics lab that's about an hour's drive south of here in Dutchess County, and we're going to now be putting Ulster County graduates and students into those programs because we don't have that here in Ulster County. So you may find the same thing, that you may have to have people going into your program, but then be placed into community colleges that are either in their county or maybe outside of their county, and that's what has to happen to get them in the right place at the right time.
Okay, these are all great resources that will connect you and them to you. Okay.
Thank you.
Point taken. No, thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Here's the rest of the brag that comes from earlier in the presentation. Mayor, go ahead.
Yeah, like I had mentioned before, we did just recently receive a 2-year extension for our funding from the Council on Developmental Disabilities. We will utilize this funding to so now that we have a year of students through, we're going to make the tweaks that we see that really need to be made and make the program better. But we will also be reaching into the youth category. So we want to partner with Access VR and the workforce centers and really look at targeting 14 and 15-year-olds so that they know students with disabilities and folks who are IEPs, that they understand that these are some career pathways that they can consider. And like we had mentioned also before, there are lots of different programs that are looking at apprenticeship and trying to make it more accessible to people with disabilities in apprenticeship across the state now. And so we would like to gather this group of people together, have a conversation, see what people's experiences are, and then see if it's worthwhile to have a quarterly conversation and build a collaboration together. So those are kind of our focus areas for the next couple of years. Thank you all who have filled out our demographic survey. We're gonna send it out one more time. So if in our work, we have to do a lot of reporting out and the different type of folks who are involved. So if we will be sending it with a recording of this video, and if you are interested, please go ahead and fill out the demographic survey. Obviously, it's optional, but just keep an eye out for it. And thank you very much.
I'd also like to, because we had the extension where you originally signed up for a 3-year stint, believe it or not, you've all been in some way, shape, or form. Even if you're brand new, your organization's been part of the state advisory for 3 years already. We're looking for a recommitment, if you would, and if not yourself because of a change in job or process or whatever, please let us know how and who we should be connecting to in order to include them in this conversation. I know that I'm considering proposing to the rest of my team the idea of even looking for someone from civil service now that the state of New York has embarked upon a state as a model employer kind of concept and looking at apprenticeship as well. We want, and I know that Kim Hill's office is adamant about making sure that people with disabilities are included in that conversation. Inviting someone to join our advisory team to get a sense of what we're doing is not such a bad idea, but we'll see how that plays out. But I'm also certainly open, Frank, if you know of other businesses that run some kind of programs like yours to join your voice at this advisory level to the state agencies, we would certainly welcome that. Other state colleagues, if there are individuals that you think should be added to the Rochester or to the Mohawk Valley advisory because they're more local influence, could potentially make a difference for those that are participating. We will take those ideas. So all of that will come in an email to you, and you can just quickly shoot off ideas and I'll follow up on things. It's not expected that you will do that admin work. I'd be happy to do that as long as there's they're not going, who the hell is this Douse woman when she sends an email, but instead has some sense of that she might be contacting you. That's all I would ask for. But also then let us know if you are the right person from the state agency to be on our mailing list and get our emails and information and help us keep this moving. I know, Stacy, you said you were working in the retail. There are apprenticeship opportunities in retail. So if you also are an entity that's looking at, because we invited actual providers, Jean and Stacy are two of those that are on our list here. If you're interested in embarking in your own way of building some kind of apprenticeship opportunities with other businesses other than manufacturing, please do feel free to reach out to us because we've got our folks here from Scion as well as other connections to apprenticeship through Chris Pinheiro's office. To assist you. There are regional advisors on apprenticeship around the state. MACNY is in big way in this project because it's manufacturing, but the state itself supports people and businesses that want to build apprenticeships for other types of trades. And we would be happy to connect you to that. So I think that is it. And then now it's up to you guys to share thoughts. You've spent 3 years with us. We're going to go 2 more, but is there anything in particular, good, bad, or indifferent that we should be aware of? We do have a final report that we have to actually complete. So if you have some constructive criticism to offer the project, speak now for us and share with us, or certainly if you're not comfortable in a public environment to do that, you know our emails, and we'd be happy to receive that feedback from you because we only want this to grow bigger. We are excited about our direct entry application that is about to be submitted probably before the end of the year. When we get that approval, we'll let you know and what all that means. But in the meanwhile, what questions, thoughts, concerns, opportunities, ideas do you have to share with us? Carrie is writing. Hang on. Frank, do you want to share those good stories you were telling us when we first started?
I have to get onto a 10 o'clock conference call, which is like 2 minutes from now. So can I pass on that? But can we do that next spring when we have our next By the way, I
Oh,
want
so
to sign up for,
you're
I want to sign up,
recommitting. Yay. You
and I
heard
want to
that.
sign
You
up for
heard
another
that.
3 years. Yes, put me in there for
Frank's
another 3
on.
years.
Frank's on.
Okay.
Yay. All right, and Scion is asking for us to create some insights and possible pathway training in manufacturing and advanced manufacturing for Scion DRCs. We will certainly take that under advisement, Carrie. Thank you. All right. We did come right up to the 10 o'clock timeline, so there are things that are Carrie and Amanda have added in the thing about the where the DRCs are listed. I'll be happy to get all that together for you, Frank. So other thoughts, questions? Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll send out the link to this if you missed anything, and we wish you all a very, very happy holiday season. I saw on a Facebook post that actually 29 different holidays are celebrated between the Thanksgiving week and the end of the year. So to all of those and all of you, happy holidays.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy holiday, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Happy holiday.
Okay. Are we talking? What are we doing?
Trying to stop